My name is Bob Taylor. I'm here today with my guest, Roberto Martinez from the Boys and Girls Club of Camarillo. Good afternoon, Roberto, and thank you for being with me.
Hi, Bob, and thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Now, I've heard nothing but great things about the Boys and Girls Clubs, not just in general, but especially about the Boys and Girls Club of Camarillo. Why?
Well, all Boys and Girls Clubs are great places. And I grew up in the Boys and Girls Club, and I have nothing but positive things to say about any club. However, I think some of the things that make our club so special is just the way the community has come together to support us and really rally around us. Our club is over 50 years old, and we've been able to have that continuity because of the community support we've received and the collaborations from our school district, from our local university, from some of the businesses, and just the volunteers in the community who come out and make the club such a great place.
So you actually, when a Boys and Girls Club goes up or decides on an area, there's nothing set up for them to start out with. I mean, you got to set up the school districts, you got to set up all that collaboration on your own, or each district does.
Well, really, it's not the Boys and Girls Club that says we want to start a club here. It's the community that comes together and says we need a Boys and Girls Club in our community.
Right.
And we need it because we have working families. And we need it because we have these kids who, after school, when their parents are still at work, which is the time when kids are most vulnerable and most likely to take part in risky behavior, we need them to do something that's really positive. We need them to get them help with their homework and get them involved with some of these really fun and unique programs and activities. And so that's how clubs really start out organically in most communities.
Now, are the programs you do, are a lot of them local up or are a lot of them national down?
You know, it's a combination. So Boys and Girls Club of America is a national organization, and as such, they're able to tap into some great national partners and utilize best strategies and best practices to target programs that youth need. In conjunction with that, clubs are very community-based, and as such, we're able to use our own creativity and bring in programs that are really, we feel, are going to be beneficial to the kids that we serve.
Something I don't want this to step on anybody's toes, but we can't, a lot of things that happen in our community, it's so hard for the schools to get involved in because they got to pay teachers overtime to do those things, those after-school programs. You guys, as a Boys and Girls Club, were at a Saturday event that the community put on, the robotics events, with kids just going nuts and screaming and having a good time. And how do you cover those extra costs? Because that's got to be extra costs for you guys. I know you're not just babysitters on Saturdays.
Well, you know, it's for all of our programs, whether it's after-school programs or additional services on the weekends or during those days when the schools are closed and we step in, you know, it's the community coming in and giving us financial support because they see the value in what we do. And you know, what the club always tries to do is find that balance between what the kids need, which is a lot of times that education and that structure, but also what the kids want, which is that fun.
Right.
And so building that bridge and having programs that are, you know, really fun and exciting and unique, but also have that educational component as well.
So of the kids, when I was involved with the Boys and Girls Club years ago, I'd say probably 95% of the kids wanted to be there and 5% were being dumped and didn't want to be there at all. That was 30 years ago. I mean, is it almost the same today, or does everybody want to be there, or some just get dumped as a babysitting service?
I think most of the kids who are there, they want to be there, and some of them who, you know, they get dumped there, they end up loving it and wanting to stay there. I think there's two types of kids who come into the club. There's the child who walks in on day one and they just see, you know, the vibrantly painted walls, and they see the pool tables, and they see the gymnasium, and they see the kids doing dance and other programs, and they want to do every single thing in their first hour there, and they just want to go and it's like a kid in a candy shop. They want to try this and try that and try that. And then there's the other kids who are just by nature very shy and timid, and when they walk in, you know, they see hundreds of other kids, and it's overwhelming. But what happens is a staff member reaches out to them, or another child reaches out to them and says, "Hey, you're new, aren't you? Why don't you come over here? Come see what we're doing." And then little by little, you see that child just break out of their shell. And that child, when you see them come in day one, and you see that same child 2 weeks later, and they just have all the confidence in the world, and they've made friends, and they're getting new introduction to new skills and hobbies, and you know, that's my favorite thing.
Well, you know, my granddaughter is going to be going to the Boys and Girls Club soon. She goes to charter school right now, and she's looking forward to getting on that bus and going to the Boys and Girls Club. And she came up to me with a question the other day. So word of the Boys and Girls Club does get around. She says, "I don't got to do my homework at the homework center at the Boys and Girls Club, do I? And I said, you don't have to as long as you're going to do it when you get home. But if you get behind or you're not going to do it, then if they have a spot for you to do your homework, you're going to be doing your homework. So she knows you guys got a homework place, but she's never been.
Yeah, and and it's that word of mouth that happens a lot at the schools where, at the end of the day, they see their friends getting on this bus and heading to the club, and they're coming back the next day saying, hey, we did this at the club, or we did that at the club. And then those kids start telling their parents, hey, can I go take a tour? Can we go check it out and see what's going on? And then when those parents come in, they like what they see and they sign their kids up. But I feel what we're really there to do is support the families and support the schools and support the community that we serve. So homework is a vital part of our programs because so many of our parents are working parents and they may not be working in the community that they live in. So they're working hard and they get up early and they drive out to work and they're there all day, and then they get on that 101 or whatever it is and they get home.
Could be an hour, could be 3.
Exactly. The last thing they need to do when they get home is have that 8 o'clock conversation with their child of why isn't your homework done yet?
Yeah.
We still gotta,
And every household has them.
Every household has them. So our goal is that when that parent has worked their full day and has, got through traffic, pulls up in our parking lot, walks in and picks up their child walks out with their homework complete and has had plenty of opportunities to take part in different activities, whether it's sports, dance, music, technology. And that way, when they get home, all they got to do is have dinner, connect as a family, and talk about their day.
Now, does the Boys and Girls Club internally, do you have, every day we have a 4 o'clock class on dancing, or do you just go to a dance area and dance if you want? Or how structured are you inside?
For our club, Monday through Thursday is mandatory homework. Now, if a child, if they don't have homework, or they, quote unquote, I finished my homework, or my parents said I don't got to work my homework, they're going to do some type of enrichment activity during that time. Okay. Whether that's learning about, water conservation or environmental conservation, or learning about bullying, or learning about decision making. There's going to be some type of structured enrichment program at that time. And then afterwards, we go into our more, I guess the word would be interest-based programs. And that's when you have your dance or your music or your technology. Right. And then we have our games room. And our games room is probably the lower structured area where kids can go and they can play ping pong and football and pool. And they can be kids. But what I see in that area is kids learning how to learn conflict resolution, learning how to share.
Yes.
We have a rule at our club where it's 1 pool stick per table. Why? Because then you have to hand it over.
You have to
share. And so I see that stuff happening in the game.
That's a really good idea. I like that idea.
But at that same time, we have our dance programs and our music programs and our drama clubs where kids are doing skits and acting, and so it's a healthy mixture.
Right. Years ago, I was invited to the Boys and Girls Club. It had to be 25 years ago. They did a little skit and a little part of Grease. It was just so cute. That was like 25 years ago, maybe even 30 years ago. I don't know. It was a long time ago. So why do people want to do things for you other than the fact they know their kids need it? Why does a group advertise with you or support you that doesn't have any kids around? What are good reasons for that?
So recently we did a study with Cal Lutheran University with Dr. Jamshid Demui, and he's an economics professor. And what he wanted to learn was, what's the economic impact of the club?
Very good.
And so he surveyed kids and he surveyed parents, and he took into account all sorts of different economic factors, such as, kids who are eating healthier. Every day we talk about healthy nutrition and we provide nutritious meals to our kids. Our kids are getting exercise at the Boys and Girls Club. So think about what that does for healthcare costs. Right. But also think about how many, about 92% of our parents who were surveyed said, without the Boys and Girls Club, I won't be able to work.
Right.
And so he determined that for every $1 invested in the Boys and Girls Clubs in Camarillo, this is not national, this is the Boys and Girls Club for Camarillo. Okay. There's a community return of $16.08.
Wow.
For every single dollar, $16.08. So when businesses and service clubs and everyone else in our community, when they see the value of what we provide in our services, well, they just see that makes a healthier community and a better Camarillo.
I talk to people about buying local, because if you don't buy neighborhood first, city second, county third, your neighborhood's going to disappear and you can't complain about it. Yes. And I talk about the fact the dollar turns over 7 times in your community. So that's $7 for every dollar you spend. You got $16, fella. You're over doubling that. I mean, that's got to be just great for the board members to be able to feel that and see that, and for everybody involved.
Well, certainly, and you know, our board members are hugest advocates out there, and I think, you know, when you know, on the everyday level, we're there helping kids.
Right.
But when you take a step back and you just look at the greater good that we do, it feels great to help that kid. It feels great to sit down and help them work through a math problem. Or it feels great to see them gain that confidence when they're learning a new skill or getting involved with a new hobby. But when you take a step back and look at the big picture, and you know that single mother or those hardworking families have that peace of mind.
Right.
At 2:30, 3 o'clock, they can stay at their work site, be productive, and contribute to society in that way, and then go home and just, you know, connect as a family. It just makes you feel good about what you do.
And I think a big part of that, not just the fact that it's a Boys and Girls Club, but the big part of it is they know there's a smooth transition from the school to the Boys and Girls Club.
Yes.
So they can drop their kids off at the beginning of the day and not have to worry about them until whenever.
Oh, that's an incredible peace of mind. And the school district has been, Pleasant Valley School District has been one of our largest partners, and we appreciate everything they do for us.
Well, you know, I totally agree with you with the community stuff, because with our community grants, Boys and Girls Club is always number one, and rightfully so. You know, I mean, because we don't have another group like you guys around to support the things that our young people have to do. We don't have a rec center so much for the young kids. You know, we
Yes.
have the rec center mostly for older, for the seniors and that kind of thing, but there's really nothing for the little kids or even the teenagers to do.
Yeah, certainly, and I think, and you know, so what we've been able to do this recently is provide a shuttle from the high school, so that high school kids can get to the club as well. Because we learned that a lot of our kids we wouldn't see them after 8th grade, and we asked them, well, you know, what's going on? And a lot of them said, well, I want to continue to come. It's just so far away, I don't have that access. So we wanted to make sure that if they choose to continue to be with the club, we want them to have that access.
And they don't have to be there age-wise,
No.
so they can go home, but it's still not always necessary for somebody to go home alone or whatever.
Yeah, well, you know, there's a lot of things at home. You know, you have if the parent if the parents aren't there, you have the internet with everything the internet has to offer, and you know, all sorts of other things that without proper context, you know, information can get to the kids not in the way we want them to have it.
Do you have any restrictions on phones?
Yes, we do. So we
Oh,
have
thank
certain areas and certain places where kids are able to use their phones. You know, technology is important,
Yes.
and it's a huge part of, you know, progress and moving forward. However, there has to be that balance, and
Agreed.
you know, I feel that all people, and especially our young people, they need to develop all sorts of skills, whether it's cognitive, interpersonal, social, just life skills in general. And we want them to develop those life skills and do it outside of, you know, just being on a device.
I mean, this would be a totally different show, but I think kids nowadays tend to lose social skills by that screen time.
Yeah.
Now, the one good thing is, I mean, I used to watch Popeye eat spinach and beat people up. Well, at least now the kids are learning teamwork. They're
Yes.
learning those kind of things on the cartoons. So
Yeah.
the cartoons are better for them. You can only have so many of them.
Yeah.
All right, now Roberto, we only got a few seconds left. I know you need a lot of volunteers. How do people contact, not necessarily you in particular, unless you want to give out your cell number, but how do people contact you guys if they want to come volunteer or find out more about the Boys and Girls Club?
So our website address is www.bgccam.org,
Okay.
and that's a great source to
boysandgirlscam.org.
yeah, that's a great source to find out information. And from there, you can find out about different volunteer opportunities, and there's volunteer opportunities for
No
anyone.
matter what you want to do, and it takes you out of your own problems.
Exactly. If you want to work with kids, you can go and help out with, you know, maybe something, if it's academic, or maybe you just, you know, you have a special skill that you want to share. Or if you want to help us out with, you know, fundraising and make sure that we can sustain and continue to provide these great opportunities and services for the community, then there's opportunities to volunteer there as well. But for, you know, any age, for you know, any interest, there's opportunities to get involved.
Thanks for being with me, Roberto.
Yeah, I appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
My name is Bob Taylor. I've been your host for this segment of Our Ventura TV. I've been here today with my guest, Roberto Martinez from the Boys and Girls Club of Camarillo. Until next time, thank you very much.